Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized. I'm a bit out of sorts today. I've taken over half a day to actually get round to doing this video, so I'll probably share a few things as we go along. Nothing major, just, some days you just get a bit kind of difficult to settle, I guess. I've got in front of me a stack of scrapbook papers that are scraps, so they've been cut into, used, or otherwise damaged. A lot of this was either given to me or bought in bulk from somebody who was destashing, so I don't know where any of it really came from. I haven't got an example to show you of what I'm going to do today. I felt I just needed to have a play today. I had all sorts of ideas of what I was going to do a video on today, but came down to I just needed to play and get over this kind of disconnected feeling I feel today. So the item I'm going to show you, you may have seen because it is in some of my journals that I've done flip throughs on. Not the last one I did, but possibly the one before that. I can't quite remember, but I do put it in my journals quite often. So I'm going to make some today and show you how I do it, and maybe you can do the same. So if you want to craft along, grab some papers. You just need some paper, a small round punch, and mine is way over here, so excuse me reaching, I forgot to get it out. So just a small round punch. This is Cowl brand, and it's just over 1 centimetre wide, so just about, or just under 1/2 inch. So that's a hole punch. So you need a hole punch, stack of papers, ruler, scissors, craft knife, cutting board, whatever you prefer to cut with. Some things will be easier than others. You'll need some glue. Now for this I prefer my tacky glue. This is the Helmer one I use. I just find it easier than using a glue stick because what we're working with is quite small. So I use that, and I'll put it on the other side of me so I'm not reaching all the time. What else do we need? Oh, some stamps. So if you're using acrylic clear stamps, then a stamping block and whatever stamps you like. I like to hide little messages in these. It's basically mini envelopes on a strip, and I learnt this from a lady that used to come to my craft classes, and I enjoy making them. They're fun. So I like to stamp words inside. It doesn't have to be words, and you don't have to put anything inside at all, but I think it's a really cool place to hide little secret messages for whoever gets the journal and opens it up and looks and then finds these hidden little things. I think that's fun. So this is a cheap AliExpress or eBay. I've had it for years. It's a really good set. I enjoy it. Sometimes it doesn't stick to my block anymore. It's cheap set, so there is that issue. But other than that, I love it. So I'm going to be using those in this video. So grab your supplies, pause the video, come back and join me for some making. So first I'm going to cut some strips, and while I was grabbing out my card I noticed this, or my paper. This is a thicker paper and it's been damaged, so whoever I got it from had used it for something or it got stuck to something. And I'm going to cut some strips about 1 centimetre wide, so about 3/8 of an inch. Just push that up a little bit so I've got more room. This doesn't actually fit on my craft mat, so that's going to be interesting. Now I've just changed out my craft knife for one that I think is slightly less noisy when I open and shut it, because I think that's probably distracting for everybody. So hopefully that is easier on your ears, because I have noticed the other one, because the other one's cheap and it rattles as you open and close it, and I find it not a nice noise, so you probably hate it every time I do it. Right, so I'm not actually measuring the width, I'm just making sure I cut straight, but about 1 centimetre give or take. I'm just going to go up to the top of my craft mat because I don't need the whole length, and try not to cut down off the mat. So don't want to end up cutting myself. That wouldn't be good. Right, and I'm just going to tear that top bit because that'll be cut off anyway. So I'm going to do a few while I'm here. For this base strip, I like something neutral because it forms to just hold the envelopes. So it doesn't need to be pretty or anything. It really something that you want to be just in the background. And using a neutral like this sort of woven beigey, whoops, just cut off there, beigey colour, it will suit lots of different styles of journal. So something neutral is also good for that reason. Right, and it needs to be cut, I'm just going to do 2 for a start, cut to the size of your page. And I ended up with some fuzzies on the side. The knife I've using is actually an old one, and it's got glue residue and sticky tape residue on it, so it's probably not very sharp. But never mind, it's quieter. So, as I was saying, these strips need to be the height of your page. So, I'm going to take, or slightly shorter if you prefer, I'm going to take a folded piece of A4 page here, paper, and just measure it off. And I'm not going to tear it because this is more of a cardstock. And the strip doesn't have to be cardstock, it can just be photocopy paper if you prefer. Anything is fine because it will be glued down on your page. Now I am going to line this up so that I cut straight. Hopefully. That's the theory anyway. Yeah, so these are just embellishments, fun little embellishments for a journal. They're not particularly functional, but not everything has to be functional. You know, sometimes it's good just to have fun. And I'm just going to measure this off and cut the same length. Yeah, so we've had a bit of weather lately here in New Zealand. We've had heavy rain all day yesterday. Really wet. Went out for a coffee with my friend and just saturated, going from a short distance from the door to the car. And that was okay. It was lovely to go out with her and her 3-year-old daughter and have a coffee. But yeah, just so wet. So I don't know how much of the country, I think probably most of the country, most of New Zealand had that sort of weather. I'm just looking now through my stack of papers for what colour or pattern I might like for my wee envelopes. Some and lots of places had snow in the high places, so this morning there were a number of roads closed. I don't know if they're still closed, they might be open by now. I've just got this scrap, so I'm going to use this scrap up, or at least reduce the size of it. So we've got bright sunshiny day today afterwards, but as part of all that rain, a power pole that services my township was on the edge of a river, and the river was getting so high that the power pole was in danger of being swept away. So 7:30 last night, and we got maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours warning that they were going to turn our power off, and that it could be off for up to 24 hours. And so that was a bit like, oh, 24 hours without power. That's going to be fun. Not. So it ended up going off at 7:30. So we found out about maybe about 6, maybe 5:30. I found out about 6 that power was going to go off. Went off at 7:30. So I was in the middle of crafting because I thought, well, I'll do up until it goes out, and then it went out. So we're sitting here with candlelight and the fire going, so we were warm. and we had a drink, hot drink, because we boiled the jug before it went off, the power went off. Okay, all I was doing, sorry, I'll just interrupt the story, is I was just straightening the edge of the paper because it wasn't straight, and now I'm going to take a strip, and really you don't need to measure this. All we want is 3 different sizes of envelopes. So as long as you get 3 different sizes, it doesn't really matter what size they are. So I'm just going to cut off a strip there. And yeah, so we went to bed and had a cuppa in bed and had an early night, which was lovely. And the power came back on about, 11:30 last night, or maybe a little before. So it wasn't off all that long, which was good. But it kind of just set me on edge a little bit. You know, the unknown, the possibility of spending a day without power, which I'm okay with. Like, I've got candles, I've got the fire, I can cook on the fire. We've got a little portable gas stove that I can heat things up on. But, you know, it's not preferable. I'd rather just have the electricity. And, of course, I was thinking I won't be able to do a video. I won't be able to play games on the tablet because that would need an internet connection. And the modem would be down without power. And, you know, just all these sorts of things were playing on me. But it was lovely to see the sun this morning, and you know, we've got power back, so everything's good. But then something else happened this morning, and I will tell you that in a wee while. Okay, so I've got a strip here, so I can get 2 envelopes out of this one. So what before I cut, I'm going to fold up and just judge how big I want my biggest envelope to be. So this will be my biggest envelope. And then I need a little bit for the flap. So I'm just going to fold, actually take that down a bit. So that's the fold, and I'm going to cut a bit of a flap there. So it doesn't need to go right down to the top, and it doesn't need to be up really high, just somewhere a couple of millimeters above the top of your pocket, sorry, top of your envelope. And then what I like to do is I trim how big I want my flap. So I'm going to go about there. See, there's no measurement, like just wing it totally. And then what I like to do is round it, like an envelope would be rounded. And I just do this by hand, and it's totally imperfect. I fold it lengthways roughly without creasing in the middle, like so. And this is my wee flap of the envelope. And then I just cut a curve from the side around almost to the middle. So take out a few little kinks there. And then fold it up, and we've got our little mini envelope. So if I ink that, you should be able to see it easier. I know this is a pale colour, so it's probably not showing up that well in camera. But if I ink the edges, you'll see it more easily. It's a pale pinky sort of colour, this paper. So, and I usually will distress the edges of these as well. Not the back, because the back's not going to be seen. There we go, so just ink that up. And there's one little envelope. Oops, that side's not straight for some reason. Did I fold it crooked? That's probably what I did. I probably didn't crease the fold properly. So I'll just give that a... Yep, that's better. Now I haven't got the white, little bit of white showing on the edge because it's folded properly. Yeah, this isn't difficult, she said as she makes lots of mistakes. Right, so I've got this little bit left. Now for the second pocket, I keep calling them pockets. I don't know why. I'm just not with it today. We want it slightly narrower. So I'm going to cut off a portion. And how much smaller you make it is entirely up to you. But just bear in mind that we still have to make one more envelope that's going to be smaller again. So don't make it too small, because you'll have nothing left, you know, to create your third envelope. You won't have enough width, and it would be ridiculously tiny. Okay, so as well as the width being narrower, it can be a different shape envelope. So it could be deeper than your big one, or it could be smaller, it could be long and thin. There's so many options with this. I try and make them roughly around the same sort of shape. If I think about it, if I don't, I make them whatever. So this one's a really thin wee envelope. So again, I'm going to unfold it and fold it lengthways so I can cut that curve in the top. Like so. Get rid of my scraps. Oh, if I can pick them up. This finger has arthritis in the knuckle, so I find it very hard to grip with things, and that's often why you'll see it sticking out. Same with my little finger. It's often sticking out to the side because I avoid using them because of the arthritis and the deformity of the joints, and it does make it very hard. Affects the sensation in the ends of my fingers, and sometimes I can't actually feel things to pick them up, which all makes crafting a little challenging, but hey, I'm not going to let it stop me. Now you could ink on the inside as well. Whatever you prefer to do is fine. So there's, see that I could end up going for one in between. That's, so where's my paper wet? Here it is. So you have got a bit of leeway. If you end up making this one too small, then just make a different size middle one, or if they're both too small, then just make a new one, bigger one. It's, you know, you can do anything, and it's only scraps. So if at the end of the day you waste a little bit, it's all good. Right, so I think 3 centimeters. I am going to do a small one, but I'm going to make it deeper. Oops, if I can line the ruler up. Gee, the simplest of tasks just seems so difficult this morning. Every day, everyone has an off day. I can't even speak properly. Whether I actually put this video up or not, well, we shall see. I feel like I'm making a complete hash of things, more so than normal. But, you know, that's life. Right, that wee scrap I'm just going to throw away. I'm in a mood where I can't be bothered fussing around with tiny bits of whatever. Okay, so fold this one up and fold the top down for my flap. And then cut the top into a curve. So sometimes your paper can be a bit hard to do if it's a thicker paper, but it is possible. You just got to give it some patience, which I'm a bit short on today too, I think. It's probably half my problem, as I've just out of patience with myself mainly. I'm just like feeling, yeah, just feeling if you know what I mean. I went for a walk this morning, which was lovely. I hadn't actually been for a walk for a while because it's just been so cold, but it was beautiful and sunny. Thought I'll go for a walk, and I had plans of where I was going to walk, and one of our cat Snuggles, she's beside me, so I'm telling her off as I'm talking to you, followed me, and she wouldn't go back home, and she was crossing and recrossing the road, and there were vehicles coming, and it just stressed me out because I don't want her to get hurt, and I don't want anyone to have the responsibility of hurting a pet. And so I had to change my mind, and I went a different way where she was a bit safer, because she just wouldn't go back home. Right. Okay, here we go. So there's my 3 wet envelopes. Now I need to punch a little closure for the tabs. So grab my hole punch, and I need some more paper. I usually use a different pattern, so I've just got to rifle through. Yeah, so she followed me the entire way. So I went around, walked down to the next street, down next block, and walked all around there. That's cul-de-sac, so I walked around that street. The entire way she followed me. Sometimes she ran ahead of me, but mostly she followed. And then we got back home. Dog, a couple of doors down, barked at her. He has jumped, I think it's a he, has jumped over the gate before to go after her. So that worried me as well. Kept telling no, and he'd hop down there, he'd jump back up, half jumping over the fence, and it's like, oh, for goodness sake. This might be nice. Was it too, might be too strong a colour. I'm just going to go with it. So I need 3 of these. So I'm just going to punch out 3. And so we got home, and I grabbed my keys out of my pocket to open the front door, and I'd taken the wrong keys. I'd taken the car keys instead of the door key, and I was locked out. Can you kind of get a feeling for why I'm just feeling a bit off today? Like, it's just been a bit of a day and a night last night. I'm just going to give these a wee edge with the distress ink as well. So we do have a key hidden, and I went to where the keys were hidden, or key was hidden, and I couldn't find it. And I had to walk through the wet grass, and my trouser legs got wet, my shoes were wet, my socks were wet. My mood wasn't improving at this point. So I had to ring my husband. It was like, where's the key? I can't find it. And so he says, well, it's there. And I says, well, I'll have to keep looking then. And he was like, wanted me to keep looking while I was on the phone, but I couldn't hold the phone and look at the same time. I needed 2 hands. So I hung up, and he wanted me to ring him back. So I did find the key. It had stuck to the underside of something with cobwebs, which is gross because I am an arachnophobe and I hate spiders, and cobwebs aren't that much better, because where you get cobwebs you get spiders. So at least I found the key. So I let myself inside. The curtain was across the door, so I had to fight through the curtain, get inside, and chuck the key on the bench. So I'm going to leave it for my husband to put back, because I couldn't be bothered going back through the wet grass. The grass is quite long, and of course it was all wet after the rain yesterday, and had to change my trousers, take my shoes off, change my socks, and made myself a coffee. And then I rang my husband back and says, I'm making a coffee. And so he's gonna do something about that situation. So if it happens again, it's not often that we need to use a key, but you know, from time to time it does happen. Yeah, it's been a morning. So then, right, and I talked my way through that without explaining what I was doing. So that was terrific, wasn't it? So let me just cut another circle so I can give you the rundown. Ooh, it's quite hard to cut through that. Okay, so when I glue it, you probably saw, but I'll explain. Just only glue the very bottom of that, and then attach the bottom of it below your envelope, because you want to be able to open your envelopes. But don't try opening them before the glue's dried, unlike what I just did, because otherwise it will lift off. So let them dry before you try opening them. So that's caught you up to date. I'm just going to have a quick little slurp of my tea. Right, next stage is stamping them. Yeah, so I was home relatively early. I got home about 10 o'clock, so I had my cup of coffee and I had various video ideas, and I was mucking around and it was like, oh, I should do this, and started playing, and it's like, oh, I don't feel like that. And I just went from idea to idea. I wasn't settling, things weren't working. Some things I just went ahead and did rather than doing it on video. And it got to lunchtime, had my lunch, and now it's like, I need to do a video. I think it will actually help me, make me feel better, because I would have achieved something. So here I am, complaining to you all about my day. Sharing is caring, they say, don't they? Right, I need my ink. Let's grab my black ink pad. So I'm using Archival VersaFine. This is one that I think was given to me, or did I buy it secondhand? Can't remember. It needs re-inking, actually. I'm finding it harder and harder to get a good impression, but it will be fine for today. Right, so I'm going to choose words that I want to stamp in here. So I will, this one I glued down first, I think, so I'll open that one up. I'll open all of them up, actually. So what I do is usually I put one word in each, so it forms a message, you know, without all the fluff, without the thes and the us and, you know, all the connecting bits, just 3 words. So that combine to make, what am I trying to say? They support each other and give it a positive message to the person whose journal it is. So my favourite ones are actually these tiny little words here. And there's a set of 3, and it's kind of a typewritten font. So I'll make sure I get them in the right order. Not that there's a particular order, it's just an order I like them to be in. And the 3 words are live, laugh, love. A very useful set of 3 wee words. So I'm going to start with my first one. That is the first one, isn't it? Yes, the narrowest one. And you can stamp right in the middle, you can stamp on the flap, on the bottom, down the bottom of the middle section. I like to do it down the bottom of the middle section on the right. That's just my preference. I have found when I have tried stamping on the flap that the stamp sometimes shows through the flap and you can see the impression on the back side. And I've gone and stamped a little bit on the bottom, but that's okay. And I haven't even got a baby wipe out to clean my stamp, so I'll just use my fingers. They're going to be black. That's okay. This is love, so this is for the biggest one. And sometimes I alter and switch side to side, which I might do here. So the top and the bottom will end up being on the same side. Or you could go side, middle, side, left side, middle, right side. Oh, you probably won't even want to watch this video. You'll just start watching it and go, oh, it's a complete and utter mess. Turn it off. You know, don't blame you. Right, and laugh for the middle one. So this one, oops, I keep getting the edge of the block on the ink pad. I'm going to put on the left side, so it's a little bit different. Oops, I didn't get much ink on the stamp itself, but it's still readable, so I'm going to live with that. It's all good. Right, give them a moment to dry. Make sure I don't lose my little stamps. I'll pop them on the block. And I'll probably won't stamp the others, I'll just show you, or just make the bases and stamp them later. Right, now grab back your strip, which is cut to the size of your page, top to bottom. And the next trick is making sure you actually, oh, that one's upside down. Oh bother me. Oh, no it's not. Oh gosh. I think I should restart this video. What a mission. Okay. Globs of glue. Right. On the back of your envelope, just glue a strip in the middle. Just one line of glue. And this is why I find it easier to use a glue like this rather than a glue stick. And guesstimate where you want to put it, like so, and then go for your next one down. And I'm going to close them up to make sure that I get them in the right order. Yep. Then just strip of glue and whoops, in the middle there's a bubble that burst. Just take that in case it's too wide. I need to wash my hands after this. And again, just pop it down where you think is good. And you can leave more space at the top and bottom, which is good. I recommend that you do leave some space so that if you decide to put it on a page that ends up being shorter, that you can trim some off and it will still fit. Oops, dropping things now. Right, and these are good things to mass make too, because you can cut all your strips, then cut all your envelopes, stamp them all, do your little closures. You know, you can do it in stages and make a whole lot all at once. There we go. And we've got our 3 little envelopes with their secret message. So if I grab over my A4 page here, sorry, A5, and then I would glue it down, as I was saying in the last video, gluing things down on the outside of the page, not towards the spine. Sometimes I put these on the inside cover as well, and sometimes I put them on the other side of the page. Hopefully I'm in camera doing this. I've brought the camera lower to give you a better view, hopefully, like so. And doesn't that look pretty? Actually, I really like it on the pink paper. It looks really nice. And so just glue it down, and I am going to glue this one down because I do like it on the pink. And then I'll have a page partly decorated, ready for a journal, which is edging me a little bit closer towards being happy. Now when you glue it down, you can also put a little bit of glue on the backs of the envelopes on the sides, just to make sure everything's nice and secure. Often I don't, but on this one I'm going to. And now I'm going to try and get it on without making a mess. And I'm going on the inside just because that's where I had it open to. I like the tacky glue too because it dries quickly, but you do have a little bit of time to adjust things if needed. Depending on the temperature, the warmer it is, the quicker it sets. But it's a little cool in here today. I haven't got the fire up too high, and it died down a bit while I was out walking, so it's not too warm in here. The glue gives me a little bit of time just to make sure it's in the right place. And there we have it. I just think it's super cute, really fun, just fun embellishment for your pages that's a little bit different. And if you wanted, you could leave the biggest one as a little tuck. I haven't, obviously, because I glued this down completely, but you could have a little tuck there as well, and then it could have a use that was more than just decorative. But I really do like that. So I'm going to make another one, just hopefully to reinforce the instructions, because I know I was completely jumbling everything. Right, I might go for this yellow one here because it's a neutral one, and it might suit the bee journal that I'm planning on doing. Right, so again, I'm going to cut a strip for my biggest envelope. Excuse me, now I've got frog in my throat. Are there some days you have where you just feel like you'd rather just go to bed and rewrite the whole story again another day? That's my day today. Fortunately, I don't get many of those sorts of days, but I don't like them when I do get them. Okay. So I've made this one a bit wider, and that bottom needs trimming because it's a bit, looks like it's been torn, and I want a nice clean edge there. You know I like torn edges, but for some things it's better to have them nice and clean and straight. Okay, so I think I might make this one even deeper. I haven't ever made them very big, so I might just have a wee play and make these a bit bigger than what I'd normally do. And I'll only get one envelope out of this, so I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Make sure I've folded it straight. And I hope you're not getting my head or anything in the camera shot either, since I've lowered it. Right, again, so I've got my flappy fold and the bottom of the envelope, and now unfold it and gently fold it lengthways without creasing the middle point, and then cutting a rough curve like so. And then if you end up with any points, like I've got a slight little point there, you can just come in with the very edge of the scissors and just smooth them out. I can't even get the rubbish in my little rubbish bottle now. Right, I'm going to distress it again so you can see. Yes, I think this will be super cute in a bee journal. It's got flowers, a white pattern is flowers. So, very, very good. I have to think about what words I might want to put in it though. I might have to go for some bees or something inside instead. Not sure. I'll do that later once I've had a think and rummage through my stamps, see what I might like. Cool, so that's the big one. So now I'm going to, I might get 2 out of this next strip. So I want to go about there roughly. I can always trim a little bit off the side, and this is the thing too, if you end up with it too big, like too small is one thing, but if it's slightly too big and you want a bit more of a difference between your little envelopes, you can just trim the side down, both sides if you've already curved the flap, because if you only trim off one side once you've curved it, then the curve's going to be off balance, off center. So if you've already curved this, then take a sliver off each side to keep its symmetry. So you might want to wait and curve the corner, the flaps, until you've made all 3, and you can see whether you need to trim one down or not. Okay, might make this a taller one just for fun. And I'm just going to eyeball and cut with my scissors for this flap. So as you can see, you can vary the shape and size to whatever you feel like at the time. There's no measurements. Just measure each one against the other to make sure you've got differences. Oh, excuse me. And so it's a nice relaxing thing to do in front of TV as well, which I will probably be doing after I've finished this video, so I can just chill out a bit and not think too much. Right, I quite like that, the taller pocket. Again, I'm calling it a pocket. Envelope, envelope, envelope. They are envelopes, Belinda. Maybe if I say it enough times to myself, I might actually get it in my brain. Right, there we go. Cute. Cute, cute. And did I ink? Yes, I did ink the top of that one. I thought for a moment I'd forgotten to do the top. Right, so this is the same width as this one. So I need to chop it down a little bit to make it smaller. So I'm just going to eyeball and run my scissors up. Those bits I cut off I am keeping because they are good sized strips for making clusters, which is another video I need to do. I call them Corey strips because they're of a style that she does and I really like it. It's quite cool. So I'll do those at some point. They're a lot of fun. Good way to use up your scraps, your strippy scraps. Okay, and get that. It's not quite folded completely perfectly in half, but it won't matter. Nobody's going to measure it on you. They're not going to go, oh, that's 0.5 millimeter to the left, or, you know. I'm telling myself that because I tend to be perfectionist. And sometimes I've got to tell myself that it's okay. They're not going to be looking at it so closely that they'll see all your flaws. As long as it looks to be right, they will think it's right. And at the end of the day, it's all handmade things, and handmade is not machine made. If it's machine made, it might be perfect, but man made, handmade, no. Oh, look how grubby my thumb is. Combination of ink and glue. Right, so we've got our 3 little envelopes. Aren't they cute? Now I need a different paper for the wee circles. And this is some light textured cardstock. It's actually quite a cool feel. It's like canvas texture. So it's a bit thicker than paper, but not as thick as cardstock. So whatever you want to call that. It's quite a cool colour too. And I think that'll not be nice on the yellow envelopes. So just take my glue. And only gluing the very bottom of the, smoothing it out a bit with my finger so I can control a little bit where the spread goes. And I didn't ink it, so I'm just going to leave it now because I forgot. And these ones will be uninked. There is a rough side and a smooth side to this, so make sure I get them all round the right way. Oops, glue bubble, pop. Come on, glue. Don't really want your bubbles today. And there we go, and making sure you pop it down far enough that the flap doesn't get caught under the glue. Now a good policy is to, once you've applied the glue, is to lift the flap out and leave it out so that it doesn't accidentally glue in, because then it's harder to get out. But if you find that the glue is too high when you go to put the flap back in, then you can just ease it out a little bit with the end of a craft knife very carefully. And if it all goes to custard, make another one and just replace it. Right, I'm going to not stick these on my strip, because if you stamp when it's on the strip, then because there's a ridge formed by the strip, it can throw off the stamping and turn out a bit messy. So do stamp these before you attach them to your strip. So I'm just going to practice what I preach and lift those out so that the glue can dry without them sticking the flaps down. So I will glue those down once I've stamped them. Right, I think I'm going to call it there a video today. I feel like it's been a complete and utter mess. My desk looks like a bomb site, and it was tidy before I started the video. And just, I will upload it, but please just forgive the the mess that this is. But at least I've done a video. I've achieved something, I've made a couple of things, and I am happy with them. And that has to be good. So I will call it quits and see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Bye-bye.